well-informed staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at PAHLincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
Limitless Male says it's all fun and games until your testosterone plummets. Testosterone levels can start falling as early as age 30 with symptoms like no energy, poor sleep, brain fog, belly fat, muscle loss, and mood swings. If this sounds familiar, get your testosterone checked at Limitless Male. We'll get you back in the game with more strength, energy, and confidence. When you feel this good, you'll wonder why you waited so long to get a free consult at Limitless Male. Get scheduled today.
I'm Karen Carr. I've been a realtor for 31 years. When I made a company change 12 years ago, I chose Lincoln First Realty, now NP Dodge. It's the oldest independently owned realty company in the country. Since becoming NP Dodge, we've continued our tradition of community involvement. Our management and staff are always available to offer support in marketing, technology, social media, and educational opportunities.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at DoorsPlusLLC.com. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America.
Welcome to Ticket Weeknights
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome in Ticket Weeknights. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. We got Tristan Gomez joining me from 6 to 7, and then we'll be right back on track after this one. We got All In, some new shows coming down the line, and then, of course, Dump Punt Hour, Chris Rapp as well, and myself. And again, All In Husker wrestlers Caleb Smith and Ridge Lovett. They'll be joining me for that next hour. And again, talking All In, everything Nebraska sports. Tristan, how's it going on a Monday after Nebraska football takes its first loss, but volleyball does stay undefeated over the weekend?
Not too bad. It was a good environment here in Lincoln on Saturday. Pre-game show was a good time. Good vibes. Would have loved to, been going into the week off a Husker W, but otherwise not too bad.
Yeah, and I will say this much. I don't think either of us left that game too surprised. I'm not to toot our own horn here, but that's it's about exactly what we expected. Yeah. I think we both had, 3-point game, 27-24 was mine, 6 points off total, 6 points against Michigan. I had them short. I think you were a 3-score game as well.
Yep.
Obviously, Haynes was going to be the issue. Mm-hmm. We felt like we could take advantage of Underwood has to throw the ball. We don't really trust the receivers. Kind of worked out. That one drive, it was 3 straight.
Yeah.
One, maybe you can blame on Underwood for sailing a little bit, but there's a few of them where it's just the guys were not making a full-out effort where you get some better receivers. I think they convert on some of those. And then, of course, the trenches was going to be the most important thing. As we'll look into it, they racked up on the ground alone. Michigan had a whopping 290, and then Nebraska 43. Mm-hmm. Both teams on 31 carries. Michigan got 290 on 30. Nebraska only got 43. Yards per rush, 9.4. And, of course, Nebraska 1.4. College sports, you count the QB sacks, so you take that with a little bit of grain of salt. I think Dylan got sacked a decent amount of times in that one for some pretty significant yardage, but even then, you're probably looking at 100 yards pretty considerably. Were you surprised to see Nebraska struggle as much as they did running the ball? Because to me, I didn't expect us to flatten out, Michigan in the trenches. I was a little bit surprised about how difficult it was for us to get anything going in that department.
Yeah, I was really surprised, especially because of how well Raiola was throwing the ball.
Yeah.
It seemed like they really had the passing game going, which in my head, after seeing that a little bit in the first half, I figured, all right, maybe we can get into the run game a little bit more, get a little bit more two-dimensional. But every time we ran the ball, it seemed like we didn't go anywhere. Either 2 yards or even some tackles for loss. And so I think that just made it tough for Nebraska to get in any sort of rhythm. And I mean, you can be really proud of Dylan for what he did in the passing game, but it was like a little hard to watch just the run game never really get going, while Michigan was the totally opposite.
Yeah, it was literally the battle of opposites there. Nebraska was throwing the ball really well, could not run the ball. And then not Underwood, but just Michigan as a whole was a little bit better in the passing game compared to what Nebraska was in the running game.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like that's how you win by 3 points there. But I was just surprised to see Emmett Johnson even as well. We can point at the offensive line, but there's a few times where I thought Emmett Johnson was really struggling to make those yak yards. He wasn't able to make guys miss. I didn't really think they put in Mosey Nelson in there a whole lot for obvious reasons. That's a tough matchup there, but that was pretty much the inability of the game for Nebraska to win. It was like we just could not run the ball consistent enough. However, you still kept it close. You use a Hail Mary to get there. Does this, how bad is this loss hurt Nebraska going forward? Because we won't beat this thing to death. There's plenty of other things to talk about, as I'm sure you guys heard a lot of breakdowns of this game already. But do you, where does this one kind of land? And if in terms of importance, and do you expect the guys to bounce back after we do got a bye week this weekend?
Yeah. Honestly, I think Husker fans going into this thought like, all right, this is the game where we solidify that we belong in the top of the Big Ten. We should be a team that people are talking about when it comes to the college football playoff. I think with a win, that sets Nebraska up for that. But it's Michigan. It's still a really good team, a really good school, and has been for the past couple of years. So still like Nebraska's struggling to get over that hump. But when you look at the rest of Nebraska's schedule, I think they match up pretty well against the rest of the teams. At Penn State is going to be a really tough one. But other than that, I think Nebraska still has themselves set up. So it's just how do they respond? We've talked about in past years how Nebraska would lose one game and it would kind of snowball effect.
Mm-hmm.
How do you respond from a game like this with a bye week and going into the rest of Big Ten play? If you can win the games that you are expected to win, or you believe that you can, Nebraska might end up with just 2 losses. And I think that's what Nebraska is hoping for. I wouldn't take this game too deeply, first conference game, but going forward, I think it's just Nebraska has to respond from it and keep trending up.
Yeah, and that's where, if you told most people, like, hey, you're going to end your 10-2,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to be like, oh, that's incredible.
You lost to Michigan and Penn State? Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah, I would have expected that heading into
Yeah.
it. And then we get to the game, and then we're like, oh my gosh, we lost. The season's over. And I can understand some of the why people got an extra bad taste in their mouth. Like, to be fair, you got Biff Poggi out there in the interim. Well, not a stand-in, not even a full-on interim. The other guy's not fired, but the stand-in coach, Sharon Moore's not there. Underwood is not really have it all together just yet, and it does feel like one of the weaker Michigan teams we've seen in a while, despite them still looking solid. They still have more talent in terms of stars than Nebraska, but obviously you saw that loss to Oklahoma where their offense wasn't overly impressive, so you were maybe hoping that Nebraska could do a little bit better than what they did. Because again, I think Michigan, they didn't score a lot of points, but it isn't 30 isn't indicative of how dominant they were, simply because they were running the ball as much as they were, just bleeding a lot of clock.
Yeah. I mean, they continued to run the ball, and that last drive was just kind of, it seemed like what Nebraska used to do.
Yeah.
In that fourth quarter, when it was like, we'll just take clock. I think it was a 7-8 minute drive or something like that, maybe 13 plays. And they end up in the end zone, which is just so hard to watch. And, kudos to Michigan for getting those third down conversions. And it was just tough to see maybe quite a few missed tackles. And it seemed like it was the total opposite for Nebraska. When Nebraska's offense got that first contact, they were going down. Michigan seemed like they slipped that first tackle just play after play, which we kind of talked about in the pregame show was, can Nebraska, get those tackles? And then when it comes to Nebraska's red zone offense, are we getting points? Are we scoring touchdowns? Are we kicking field goals? I mean, who knows? After that first quarter, that game is completely different if Nebraska punches it in the end zone or makes that field goal. So you can't tell who really – I don't think Nebraska played bad by any means. There were just a lot of opportunities left out there.
Yeah, I mean, the tackling is always easy one to look at, too. It's, sometimes when they even miss tackles, it's like, I don't know, that was like a tap on the shoulder, where there was a few out there, and again, sometimes Haynes' speed just caught people off guard, and by the time they get to their angle of pursuit at the end of it, they're like, hey, he's a couple yards. Maybe you can get an arm on him, and he's just such a gifted runner, and we kind of knew that heading in that the first guy, I mean, just wrapping up was a win. I wasn't expecting, but maybe a little bit of gang tackling was needed. And then there's just too many times where he was able to break loose on that first one, or it was just a bad angle, like I said. And luckily, you got a bye week. It makes you feel better. You got a lot of things to work on things you need to. Right side, special teams, outside of a little bit of ugliness at the beginning, they kind of locked in, stay calm. We're not seeing disastrous mistakes anymore, which is you lose, but it was 27-30. 3 years ago, you're probably losing it by 20 at least, like just being realistic, even if it's the same Michigan team that we saw on Saturday, who maybe not as touted as what it was with JJ McCarthy and company, but you only lost by 3, and it's because you're still messing up little things from time to time, but you're not just having disastrous mistakes that we've always had to in the past, and then you're also just not laying down. We were able to get some plays, and then you do have Dylan Raiola out there being able to deliver. Anything left to add on this game before we move on to some other scores across college football over the weekend?
No, I think Husker fans have probably heard enough of it, ready for a bye week, ready to reset. Really glad that Heinrich Harper got in the end zone. That was pretty cool to see.
Shout out him.
Yeah, he just bleeds red. And so that was pretty cool. But outside of that, I think there's a lot to learn from this game, but I still think that Nebraska under Matt Rule is trending up.
Yeah, it's hard to say they're not trending up, just looking at the wins and losses over the years. Outside of Nebraska football, though, let's look across the land. This one wasn't the most exciting game, but how good is Miami? And they're number 4. They take down Florida 26-7. They look pretty impressive. Is that one of the best? I mean, I feel like their spot is just right. And are they really a championship contender or just a playoff contender? Where do you see Miami and Cristobal?
I'm not sure I see them as a championship contender, just because watching that game against Florida, their defense looked extraordinary. And I feel like their defense they looked really well against Notre Dame. Their offense still hasn't impressed me quite yet. Carson Beck has been good, but still thrown quite a few interceptions, some costly turnovers. So
he didn't have a touchdown in that game.
No.
Looking at it, he had so far in the year, he's not playing as nearly as great as people anticipate. Completion percentage is fine, but 5 touchdowns, 2 picks, and he's got 43 completions on 58 attempts, so not bad there, and then 545 yards through the air. Slow start,
yeah, and I think that's what's going to be different, and we've seen it, and we saw it in last year's college football playoff. Is you can have stellar defenses, but when everyone's offense has to be lights out in order to even compete in those games, you got to have an offense that can score some points against really good defenses. And I haven't seen that out of Miami yet. But just watching them so far and them getting into ACC play now, I expect them to continue this dominant trend.
Okay, who's worse? We'll just move on to the next one. We'll do a little bit of comparison. It'll help you, I think, place Miami. Indiana-Illinois game. Illinois got absolutely bullied. Final score of that one, 63-10. And this is kind of a good separator because you always hear, well, the Big Ten sometimes. A lot of people were not even happy that Illinois was number 9. And it just feels like because people are so new to it, when Indiana blows somebody out of the water, everyone's like, well, that team they're playing sucks. That's not even a competitive. That's not a real team out there. I fortunately, because I always say it, I like what Bielema's doing over there a lot. I like the Fighting Illini. Bummer. They got absolutely embarrassed. Again, you could be worse. Everyone feels sorrow about Nebraska losing to 3 points against the 21-ranked Michigan. You could lose to a 19-ranked Indiana by 53.
We kind of saw that last year.
We did. Yeah. And how much worse did you feel? At least I felt a lot worse.
I felt a lot worse.
My head was hanging low.
Yeah, well, that game last year was tough because I thought we were going to be the ones that just ended this Cinderella run. I was like, all right, Indiana, it's Indiana. We got nothing to worry about. And then Indiana's, they're back. Kirk Cignetti is, he might be one of the best head coaches in college football right now, just the way he's turned around a program and won games. But yeah, I think we just kind of talked about it off air. We were talking who's going to be the Indiana of this year. Who's that, kind of fourth team from the Big Ten. And as of right now, it's Indiana. Yeah. Indiana's going to be Indiana. So I think that's pretty funny. Really impressed with them. And I think they're just kind of solidifying, we are here. We're here to stay at the top of this Big Ten. And I'm curious to see if this trend continues, because I think they have a few tougher games on their schedule for the rest of the season. So we'll see how that pans out for them.
It's so funny. That's the best way to put it, is I don't know why that was such a conversation, and a lot of us on the media circuit probably like stupid. Like, oh, this year who's gonna be like maybe the team that's still there that's got the same head coach.
Mhm.
And I get it, new quarterback. They did have quite a few players graduating, so you're like, well, that was just that James Madison school. But it's like, what did he do before James Madison?
Yeah.
What did he do before then? What did he do when he was probably like coaching football at a junior high level at this point? Like he is just always won, and you can't find a chapter in his career anywhere where he's not winning.
Yeah.
And he did it year one with one of the worst schools in the Big Ten that nobody has had any clue to figure out how to pick up. And he immediately started winning games. And somehow, I mean, we kind of still fell into that territory where nobody wanted to give him total credit for some reason. But yeah, I mean, the fourth team is Indiana. But you were absolutely right in saying that. At least of right now, Miami or Indiana. How good is Indiana for you?
I mean, I think what we saw from Indiana last year, and then obviously what we just saw this past weekend, is their offense is explosive. They find ways to score creatively, and it's just impressive how quick they can drive down a field and put points on the board. So I'm curious. That's kind of one of those games where I think if those two teams matched up together, I think we've seen Cristobal maybe lose kind of bigger games in the past. And I think Cignetti kind of has just that mindset like, all right, I don't care who I'm playing. We're just going to go find a way to win. If they played right now, I think I would go with Indiana just because I think of the game plan that Cignetti would hook up.
Yeah, he just seems diabolical right now. That's usually the last team that we don't have him on our schedule this year, which is nice. We can avoid them. But yeah, he's been just really good at exposing just about everyone he's played. He what was the Notre Dame last year? Was the game where they kind of got embarrassed?
Played Ohio State. I think they lost by 2 scores or something like that in the regular season, and then played Notre Dame in the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was too bad of a game.
I think he was talking some talk though. I think that
yeah.
was where people are like, "Oh, easy there," because I think even Nick Saban was like, "I don't remember teaching you to talk like that," and it was a little bit awkward. Saban calling him out for it, but it's still, to your point, he wasn't getting blown out.
I mean, the only team he lost to last year were the national champion and the runner-up.
Yeah,
so he's got a pretty good resume at Indiana so far.
That is kind of crazy to think about. Those are his losses.
Yeah.
So far in his career, I think I'll paraphrase it roughly here, but I know Austin Orman and Jay Farmer weren't talking about it. Like he's up there through X amount of games at the Power 4 level. Like he's got one of the best point differentials, and not just winning, but in terms of blowing teams way out of the water. I mean, he's putting teams under pretty well. So dangerous team. Moving on here, UAB Tennessee. I don't want to talk about this one. What is going on in college football this year? Did you see the UAB player just taking a nice stomp on Tennessee's kicker?
That was unbelievable. I saw that video. He kicks a field goal, and then he's kind of just slowly walking by and literally just goes right out of his way just to stomp right on his foot.
I don't know what's happening this year. I'm seeing a lot of spit, a lot of people just stomping on each other.
Yeah,
it's been chippy. I just wanted to point that out because that was one of the craziest things I've seen. I haven't seen something like that in a while. It's not as bad as why am I blanking on his name? Defensive end swinging his helmet against Rudolph.
Garrett. Myles Garrett.
Yeah, thank you, Myles Garrett. And the swing, it's not to that level, but this year's just been chippy for whatever reason, where you got people just getting ejected before kickoff even starts. Texas Tech, Utah. I was just not so much surprised by Texas Tech winning, but the fact that they blow them out 34-10. Georgia Tech beats Temple, Nebraska, Michigan, and then Missouri. We talked about Missouri before. They are now 4-0. They take down South Carolina. And the big thing for Missouri is I want to see what the rest of their schedule is. College football playoff potential.
They have the potential. I believe, if I'm not wrong, they have the games you want to play at home at home. Like they have the tougher teams coming into Columbia, and then
they get 6 home games to start off the year.
Yeah.
So they still get 2 more games at home before they leave. And the last home game before they hit the road is Bama. And the road games are Auburn and Vandy. Vandy's a little bit tougher now, but then they're back home for Texas A&M, which is great for them. Mississippi State. Then they are on the road for Oklahoma and Arkansas. So you're looking at probably Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, those being on the road, and then Alabama at home as your toughest opponents left.
Yeah. And I'm curious, how many losses do you think a team can have in the SEC and still make the college football playoff? I wouldn't be surprised if we see a team with 2 SEC losses still making it in.
I think 2 is probably the max. Just the way, I'd say 2. Because last year, nobody with 3 made it in there, correct?
No.
Yeah. I'd imagine it's too. I mean, especially with the way you're looking at some way these Big Ten teams are playing. And then if you're in, you're out, like you got a South Florida team who I know they do have one loss, but I mean, if you got a ranked win versus Boise State, you got a ranked win versus number 12 Florida, and you don't totally get destroyed by number 5 Miami, so you don't look totally out of place in that one. It wasn't a great win or a great loss, but it wasn't an embarrassing loss. I'd have to really see what they got left, but they run the table and they go win their conference, and they are, again, that point differential builds up. Like, are you going to put a 3-win SEC team in there who's been getting bullied, by teams like Florida, by teams like Boise State, or are you going to put in South Florida, who they actually went and won those games where they got some tough opponents and they took advantage of it? So we'll have to wait and see until we get a fluky year where there's actually 3, but I don't think we'll see that anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what just kind of shapes out with the Big 12 as well as the ACC. Last year, there were 2 ACC teams in with Clemson and SMU. Both Clemson and SMU not playing too hot right now to start the season. SMU just lost the iron skillet to TCU.
Yeah, it's an understatement for Clemson.
Yeah, and Clemson, I believe they're already out of it with 3 losses. So
yeah, 1-3. I mean, you lost to Syracuse.
Yeah, and so I'm not sure if there's going to be another team out of the ACC that makes it. Georgia Tech has been playing pretty well. Outside of that, it seems like it's just going to be all Miami. And then in the Big 12, Texas Tech playing very well. Iowa State still playing very well. But
I called it for TCU. They're frisky.
Yeah, TCU, not too bad as well. But I'm curious, like, do you take one of those Big 12 teams that maybe gets second or loses in that Big 12 championship? Are they in over a 4th SEC team or a 4th Big 10 team? I think that's where you kind of just those questions start rising.
Yeah, I think they'll still be SEC have like favoritism quite a bit.
Yeah,
we're still seeing it with the rankings. Like, a lot of these SEC teams aren't taking massive drops. Like Texas, Texas has looked not great versus Ohio State, and then they really didn't look great versus the UTEP Miners. And then I know, congrats, I think they got Sam Houston.
Yeah,
and they're sitting at 10. Like, that's 2 weeks. You got a loss, you got a crappy win, and then you blow out a nobody, and you're sitting at 10. So, and I know that's Texas. I know it's a Manning effect, but you kind of still see that with the SEC. It'll be, and this is AP poll, but it's still somewhat of an indication of like how the rest of the world looks at these teams, and that coaches poll is probably a better one to use. But even then, you always see that with SEC teams.
Yeah.
So until we get probably like 3 more years, you would need like Big 10 or Big 12 and ACC schools really as well. Because I think right now the problem is it's the Big 10 needs to step up, but a lot of the other conferences to make it more competitive, because again, with how deep the SEC is, I think it's probably fair to say deeper than the Big 10.
I would say so.
Okay, yeah, I think it's deeper. The Big 10 has a drop off there, so you need the ACC and some of those other schools to like go in there and consistently go beat a Big 10 team or go beat a team in the SEC. But no, I think that stigma is going to be there for a long time. Let's do one more game, then we'll throw it to break here. Maryland, Wisconsin. I know we talked about it off air, but do you fire Fickell this year? I think the buyout would be $31 million.
Yeah, it's just so tough because you see the rest of their schedule. We talked about it. They might not win another game. They have some tough schedule for the rest of the year. And so it's like you fire him, and do you just count your losses and say, all right, here's 31 million? Or do you say, well, let's see if he can put anything together, maybe get an upset or show that there is proof of life in Madison, Wisconsin? I think it's I don't know what you do, because he's not set up for success whatsoever. And when you're losing games at home to Maryland, I'm not sure how you go up from that, how you bounce back.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at some of the other games as well. Like Miami, Ohio was their opener. They barely scraped 17-0 on that one, and they lost to UNLV too, right?
Did they?
I think so. Well, I'm trying to remember back here because UNLV. Okay, no, they didn't.
Yeah, Miami, Ohio, and Middle Tennessee, I know, are their 2 wins.
But I'm looking at UNLV, who's, maybe not the most impressive team in the world. And, they barely beat Miami, Ohio 41-38, which is a little bit surprising. But there's not a lot of hope there. I think if you're Wisconsin, you hope to win 3 or 4 to like just not go out as probably the longest losing streak Wisconsin suffered. And since definitely since I've been alive, I don't know how far back in history you'd have to go, but you probably aren't going to spend $31 million on Fickell.
No.
You're probably going to end up hanging on to him until the end of the season. They're in a really bad spot. And I told you this, but it's like they just didn't pay attention to the horrible example that we set for everybody else. And ironically, because of how similar they were to Nebraska and how they recruited, how they attacked teams, and then you bring in a coach who, it's not like he's a bad coach, he's just wrong system. The same thing you did with some of these other quarterbacks in the past. With maybe it's just stretch with Sims, but you're bringing him to a system where he's a guy you just got to cut loose and let him run, and we're trying to kind of put him in the pocket at times. We're not really setting him up for success. So, yeah, I just don't think he's probably going to make it to past this summer. Like at the end of the year, they'll assess it and they'll let him go, because I think it gets a little bit cheaper if he makes it to the end of the season. I'm not entirely sure, but
the coaching carousel, though, it's tough. I mean, it's tough to really find the right guy, and so that's kind of what you fear. And you would hate to see. I mean, not hate to see so much, but you would hate to see Wisconsin just continue to trend down when they used to, back in the day, be RBU, and were always at the top of the Big Ten, and it's hard to bounce back. Nebraska, we're seeing it ourselves. So,
all right. On the other side, I want to ask you just what is the most surprising? And we'll use coaches. We'll use some good coaches and some success they're having, and then I'll give you some coaches that are just having downright disastrous years. So don't go anywhere. Harrison Hines, Tristan Gomez. We'll talk a little bit of NFL as well on the other side, so don't go anywhere. Talk to you right here, 93.7 The Ticket.
Harvest season is coming, and Acres has discounted many of our late model John Deere combines. Get thousands in discounts and upgrade for this year's harvest. Plus, you could save even more with interest rates starting as low as 1.9% on select units. Low interest rates combined with our huge discounts, there's not a better time to buy. Visit acres.com for all the details. That's AKRS.com. Restrictions apply. Offer ends August 31st, 2025. Subject to approved financing. Offer may change at any time without notice.
Hey fans, there's more winning at Amigos with the VIP Game Day giveaway. Every app scan is your chance to win premium tickets to a Nebraska football, basketball, and volleyball game, along with exclusive game day perks. And when Nebraska goes to a bowl, the winner also gets 2 tickets, lodging, and airfare to the bowl game. Weekly semifinalists will win free food for a year. Go Big Red. Eat at Amigos and enter to win.
Amigos is celebrating 45 years with exclusive Nebraska Legends collectible cups featuring Tom Osborne, John Cook, and some of your favorite Huskers. For every cup sold, 50 cents goes to teammates. Show your Big Red pride by getting all 4 of these collectible cups at Amigos.
This is Tom Osborne with the Teammates Mentoring Program. We have students on the waiting list for a mentor, and we want you to join the team. Learn more about mentoring and support teammates by visiting Amigos.
An overdose can happen in front of you and you might not realize it. Blue lips, slowed breathing, pinpoint pupils, choking sounds, unresponsive to touch or sounds. These signs aren't always obvious, but they can be deadly. Knowing what to do could save your friend, your neighbor, your child. Learn more by visiting myhealthymind.crediblemmind.com so you can be ready before it happens. This message is funded in part by the CDC OD2A grant.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
Limitless Male says it's all fun and games until your testosterone plummets. Testosterone levels can start falling as early as age 30 with symptoms like no energy, poor sleep, brain fog, belly fat, muscle loss, and mood swings. If this sounds familiar, get your testosterone checked at Limitless Male. We'll get you back in the game with more strength, energy, and confidence. When you feel this good, you'll wonder why you waited so long to get a free consult at Limitless Male. Get scheduled today.
I'm Karen Carr. I've been a realtor for 31 years. When I made a company change 12 years ago, I chose Lincoln First Realty, now NP Dodge. It's the oldest independently owned realty company in the country. Since becoming NP Dodge, we've continued our tradition of community involvement. Our management and staff are always available to offer support in marketing, technology, social media, and educational opportunities.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at DoorsPlusLLC.com. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
What's better than supporting your favorite radio station and eating delicious Nebraska-made products? Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska wants to highlight you, the listener, on the 93.7 The Ticket Wall of Fame at the store. Stop by the store at 48th and R in Lincoln and see their huge variety of small batch gourmet jerky. Or if you're not in the area and want to try some, go to SmokingGunJerky.com and enter code EARLY for 10% off your purchase. It's the ultimate low-calorie, high-protein snack at Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in segment number 2. Got Tristan Gomez. We got NFL on the brick and mortar. Again, you got Lions and Ravens. We'll talk about that more on segment 3, about what the keys of the game are and what we think is going to happen. And again, that one in Baltimore. Best Monday Night Football game we've gotten so far. I'd like to say my Bears-Vikings game was, but it was pretty bad. I mean, it was J.J. McCarthy in the fourth quarter was fun to watch, but that's about it.
No, I'm expecting this to just be like really good football. I don't know if we've had like a really good football game. What was the other Monday night so far?
That's a great question. I mean,
we had 2 last week.
That's right. Chargers, Raiders,
Yeah,
boring. Buccaneers,
yeah.
Texans. Was that third? Yeah, that was Monday as well. That was the other Monday.
That was a decent game.
That was 2019.
Yeah.
But this one I think will be the best if it plays up to it.
Yeah.
Maybe. Baker Mayfield games are just fun.
They're so fun. I feel like sometimes Baker is just like, can we make this a close game so I can just like be the hero on the last drive? Because he just makes it happen.
They've had it every game-winning drive, every game so far.
And Emeka Egbuka has just been unreal for them. Unfortunately, Mike Evans did go out with a hamstring, but then that last drive was all Egbuka, and he would just one-handed grab, over-the-shoulder grab, leads to a field goal to win it. It's been impressive what Baker's done so far.
Yeah, and one of the most likable QBs, and he does have just really great leadership at the end. And he's not the perfect quarterback, but there is that it factor where we'll see how far it gets him throughout his entire career with the Buccaneers. But like you don't watch him the same way you watch Josh Allen, where you're like, that dude's just a freak of nature throwing it. Even that game versus the Dolphins, it was closer than people expected, but you're just like looking at Josh Allen light up the stat sheet, and he's like, he always starts off like 14 for 15, and before you know it, he's got over 100 plus yards. He's got a couple touchdowns, and he's doing
got 50 rushing yards as well somehow. Yeah.
And then, of course, Lamar Jackson. Now I'm getting carried away on NFL, but before we get there, we'll definitely go back to it. I wanted to ask you, give me the worst situation. Dabo Swinney, the Clemson, Luke Fickell, and the Badgers, or Cowboys fans, and just whatever you got with Eberflus and everything that's going on over there.
Yeah. So much for the Cowboys, though. As much as you can put in a coaching situation, I think Jerry Jones has kind of just been like detrimental to
That's
that
a lot of dread.
organization.
A lot of dread to hang on to.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing, I think there's no coach that can really have a whole bunch of success in Dallas just because Jerry Jones likes to call all the shots. It's got to be tough as a head coach when it's like, hey, we have an all-pro top 3 defensive player in the league right now, but the owner doesn't want him, so he's gone. Like, that's got to be hard to deal with as a coach. So not so much, I mean, Cowboys fans, they're down in the dumps. I feel bad for them. But I think Luke Fickell, I'm not sure what he can do in order to, like, get this back. He's got a tough schedule. You lose a game like that to Maryland, like one of those games on Wisconsin's schedule that, like, if you're going to get any wins, that's got to be one of them. I'm curious what like the issue is with Dabo though. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Do you get rid of him? You can't get rid of him when he's the one that kind of put Clemson on the map.
You might have, like, what do you do here?
Yeah.
This is tough. Because it makes no sense. Like,
I didn't even answer your question. I kind of just said they're all in really bad situations. So
I'd say Clemson, because this is what a tough spot to be in. Because to your point, I don't know. I was gonna say that or the Cowboys, just because Cowboys, feels like whatever I do here, I'm just playing around in the mud. Because Jerry, at the end of the day, is gonna decide what really goes down and who has the control. But Clemson is more of just if I was the AD, like, you'd have to have some gonads. If you want to get rid of him, but then you're going to have a ton of people being like, just look at the results. I understand the past was great, but we lost to LSU 17-10. So you're like, okay, tough loss. But then you beat Troy, not impressive, 27-16. Then you lose to Georgia Tech, 24-21. Then you lose to Syracuse, 34-21. And now next week on the road, you know who they play?
Is it Miami?
North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
If they lose that game, what are we doing here?
Yeah. You can't keep him. I mean, the tough thing, though, is I think about Mike Norvell at Florida State. After last season, when Florida State goes 2-10, they show up this season, and they look like a top-tier team. I forgot about them in the ACC. They look like a good team in the ACC. So, honestly, is it terrible to have a coach that's had some success, have a rough year, and you say, all right, like, they understand, like, they need to get back to where they have been for us. They're not going to take this lightly. We'll be fine. Because I think maybe pulling the trigger on Dabo just because Clemson's not winning and has that, winning factor that they have had. You can't just get rid of him because he's the reason that they had those winning seasons.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know what his contract is either, but it's probably a pretty expensive buyout unless he's like on the last couple of years, which I don't think he is.
I don't think it was a good look for him, though, when he was like, I'll go somewhere else. Like, I mean, that just like, you want the fans to still be there for you, even when things aren't going great. Like, I'll go somewhere else. I'll win somewhere else if you don't want me. It's like, these are the people that have been behind you for years and years. And they don't,
Also, you told him you were going to go 16-0.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
So, like, that's the other part about it that feels bad. It's like, why were you so confident?
Yeah.
Because now you go watch the team and you're like, what were you seeing?
This is not a team I would have bet to go 16-0.
No. So, like, what changed? Like, I don't know. He'd have to explain that to me, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I'll let you stay, but you can explain to me
explain, like, why
16-0. I'm like, where the hell? Like, do I need to do a drug test? Like, what? Why were you so confident on that day?
Yeah, I don't think that you got to keep Dabo. I mean, for what he's done for that Clemson program and he's won national championships. You can't just get rid of him like that.
Yeah.
Luke Fickell, on the other hand, I don't think there's any winning in his situation.
But he can at least blame his schedule and his own fault. But, he can make like a 50-50 blame.
Yeah. I
mean, he didn't say he was going to be 16-0. Like, and I just think he, kind of killed himself with that comment. He set the expectations. Luke Fickell sucks, don't get me wrong, but I think people were lying to themselves. They told him we have decent expectations for him this year. Like, we know it'll be tough, but we think we can win like 5, maybe even win bowling goes 6. Yeah. And now we're here. I think most people in reality kind of saw like this year was just going to be a dumpster fire. And
is it Nebraska's fault after that Nebraska-Wisconsin game last year? Because that was like one of the best Nebraska well-rounded football games we've seen Nebraska play. And I wonder if Luke Fickell just saw that and was like, we can't compete in this Big Ten.
I don't know. I don't know what I like to think so. Like, maybe it's that humiliating for Nebraska to light them up like that. But like, at the same time, they beat us his first year, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So they got us that year 1. And then next year maybe it could have been a shot to his confidence. Because it's like, damn, in 1 year, these guys are already blowing me out of the water. Maybe I should have looked harder at Well, did we interview Luke Fickell at all?
I don't think so. I think he was always maybe in the talks. Like, he was always one of those kind of just rumors, but I'm not sure that he was up there. Do you know who else we interviewed?
I'd have to go back. I'm sure. I can't remember at all right now.
Yeah.
We definitely went around with a few. I want to say it was a pretty quick turnaround, wasn't it?
I believe so. And I feel like Matt Rule was kind of like always in the talks. Like, this is going to be the guy. It's going to be Matt Rule. It's going to be Matt Rule.
Yeah, it did. It felt like Leipold was the guy, and then it felt like a little bit of Fickell, but obviously Wisconsin was in that mix as well. Very, very fascinating. I don't know what's going on with the Badgers. I think it's just switching the culture over too much. Any other worse situation in college football that I'm missing before we talk a little bit NFL and throw it to break?
I don't think there's just tough situations.
UCLA
in general.
He's fired
UCLA,
already.
He's
which
gone
is
already.
Yeah. Well, Nico's situation, I guess, individually is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Grass is definitely not always greener.
No, and then you have to think about Northwestern right now and Purdue. Those are just two schools where you can't expect a coach to have any success. So it's just a tough situation to be in. Like I'm playing in, arguably the best conference in college football right now, and every team is favored to beat me. Like, how do I make the most of this situation? And if you're one of those universities, it's not like you can just fire a guy again and bring someone new because then they're in the same position.
Yeah. I'm trying to find if there's anything else before we go to break here on any crazy scores. Everything else was pretty well.
South Carolina and Shane Beamer. That hasn't they what was the game that they lost? They lost to Missouri this weekend.
Okay.
And then who'd they lose to last weekend? I believe that was a tough one for them.
They had last weekend, that was Vandy. So there were
Yeah.
two loss streak. They lost at home to Vandy, which is impressive. And then they're on the road to Missouri, as we talked about. They're opening up the season with 7 straight road games. Then, of course, we just keep beating them up. North Carolina, 9-34.
Mm-hmm.
Does it bother you that Scott Frost is 4-0?
No, I think the really level-headed Husker fans have kind of just been like,
Or
all right,
3-0, excuse me.
The level-headed Husker fans have just been like, all right, like Scott, you're back there. Let's just let's keep it separate. You kind of gave us 2 years of misery, but we don't want to hear about it anymore. Let's just move on from it. If you're happy down there and you're winning, sure. I hope he doesn't win too much. I'll say that, a little bit of petty, but no, I think it's fine. And I mean, that was kind of a crazy coaching matchup. Scott Frost back at UCF playing against Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend. Yeah, that's just a wild.
I don't know why she keeps doing that.
No, I feel bad. We talked about it off air and we'll transition to NFL, but you go from being the man in the NFL, you could argue he's the best head coach of all time with his resume. And then he goes to almost the laughing stock of college football. And he's just what's going on there?
Yeah, and some of it, whether you think he deserves it or not, it's just happening.
Yeah.
So that's always where Atlanta is. I know some people always hate talking about this stuff. It's I'm not really picking a side. You can acknowledge, it's definitely happening. If you have a phone and you have social media or anything with internet,
it's interesting.
You can go, yeah.
Yeah.
Apathy is a tragedy. That's what they tell you. But, clearly you go see what everyone talks about at these games, and it's not a fun situation, I'm sure. If you're a player in that situation, those guys probably see it. It's not the greatest look on the organization as a whole when you have that kind of stuff. And is it a horrible thing that his girlfriend's 27, 26-year-old out there with, how old is Belichick?
Oh, he's
whatever
70,
to each your own. I don't care.
Yeah.
But people are going to say, I think Bill Belichick's girl's out there right now. That's interesting because.
Yeah, and it's tough to have kind of that culture, for the players too. It's just this is kind of when people think of North Carolina, they're not thinking about the players or any of the success that they're having. It's all just eyes on that. And it's that's got to be a tough culture to be a part of.
Yeah, and I don't know if Matt Rule would ever be against it, but I don't see his wife down there. I don't ever see other wives on the sideline. It's just, again, if I was a player, it'd be hard not to get distracted a little bit by that sideshow. That's another tough situation. It's been a weird year of college football. I can say that at the very least.
A lot of good content for sure.
Yeah, plenty of good content. We'll throw it to break. We'll talk about Lions, Ravens coming up next year. Don't go anywhere. We got Tristan Gomez, Harrison Arns. Talk to you in a bit.
Harvest season is coming, and Acres has discounted many of our late model John Deere combines. Get thousands in discounts and upgrade for this year's harvest. Plus, you could save even more with interest rates starting as low as 1.9% on select units. Low interest rates combined with our huge discounts, there's not a better time to buy. Visit acres.com for all the details. That's AKRS.com. Restrictions apply. Offer ends August 31st, 2025. Subject to approved financing. Offer may change at any time without notice.
Hey fans, there's more winning at Amigos with the VIP Game Day giveaway. Every app scan is your chance to win premium tickets to a Nebraska football, basketball, and volleyball game, along with exclusive game day perks. And when Nebraska goes to a bowl, the winner also gets 2 tickets, lodging, and airfare to the bowl game. Weekly semifinalists will win free food for a year. Go Big Red. Eat at Amigos and enter to win.
Amigos is celebrating 45 years with exclusive Nebraska Legends collectible cups featuring Tom Osborne, John Cook, and some of your favorite Huskers. For every cup sold, 50 cents goes to teammates. Show your Big Red pride by getting all 4 of these collectible cups at Amigos.
This is Tom Osborne with the Teammates Mentoring Program. We have students on the waiting list for a mentor. We want you to join the team. Learn more about mentoring and support teammates by visiting Amigos.
An overdose can happen in front of you and you might not realize it. Blue lips, slowed breathing, pinpoint pupils, choking sounds, unresponsive to touch or sounds. These signs aren't always obvious, but they can be deadly. Knowing what to do could save your friend, your neighbor, your child. Learn more by visiting myhealthymind.crediblemmind.com so you can be ready before it happens. This message is funded in part by the CDC OD2A grant.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
Limitless Male says it's all fun and games until your testosterone plummets. Testosterone levels can start falling as early as age 30 with symptoms like no energy, poor sleep, brain fog, belly fat, muscle loss, and mood swings. If this sounds familiar, get your testosterone checked at Limitless Male. We'll get you back in the game with more strength, energy, and confidence. When you feel this good, you'll wonder why you waited so long to get a free consult at Limitless Male. Get scheduled today.
I'm Karen Carr. I've been a realtor for 31 years. When I made a company change 12 years ago, I chose Lincoln First Realty, now NP Dodge. It's the oldest independently owned realty company in the country. Since becoming NP Dodge, we've continued our tradition of community involvement. Our management and staff are always available to offer support in marketing, technology, social media, and educational opportunities.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at DoorsPlusLLC.com. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
What's better than supporting your favorite radio station and eating delicious Nebraska-made products? Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska wants to highlight you, the listener, on the 93.7 The Ticket Wall of Fame at the store. Stop by the store at 48th and R in Lincoln and see their huge variety of small batch gourmet jerky. Or if you're not in the area and want to try some, go to smokinggunjerky.com and enter code EARLY for 10% off your purchase. It's the ultimate low-calorie, high-protein snack at Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment. Take a weeknights. Tristan Gomez, Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. We got NFL on the brick and mortar. They'll be kicking off in about 15 minutes, a little more than 15 minutes. Lions at the Ravens. The Lions 1-1 on the season. The Baltimore Ravens also 1-1 on the season. Lions did not look great to start. Was the Packers, right? Week 1?
Yeah, Packers week 1 offense could not get anything going, and then it seemed like the Packers offense just demolished them.
And then the Ravens, of course, they had the Buffalo Bills. Their first game, tough, really, but they looked impressive as well. They only lose by, I think it was 41-40. But nonetheless, I don't think anybody's down on either of these teams right now. Who do you think has the edge? It is in Baltimore.
I do think Baltimore has the edge. I am expecting a pretty high-scoring game, though. An extra day to prepare this week, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is just kind of a shootout similar to what we saw with Bills-Ravens.
Well, right now, points per game, Ravens are first in the league with 40.5, Lions 32.5 yards per game. Lions win there, fourth with 378. The Ravens 14th in the league, 337. And then time of possession, the real key to what the Lions have been doing for a while now. They are fourth. They average about 32 minutes, 33 minutes. And then the Ravens score a lot quicker, 26. And then everything else, they're about pretty much dead, even in not worth bringing up. So points per game, you got 1 versus 4. Yards per game, you got 4th versus 14th. But that's really just this difference of style. Both teams know how to put a bunch of points. One just takes a little bit quicker to do it. One takes a little bit longer. I don't know. The Lions might serve a little bit better just because simply I think they're going to be able to do a lot better stopping the run. But then it is Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson.
Henry,
yeah. So I don't know how much to put into it.
Yeah, I'm really curious what goes into like a defensive game plan when it comes to playing the Ravens, because there's some games where it seems like teams just forgot that Derrick Henry exists and Derrick Henry just runs for 200. But then you see games where Derrick Henry slows down a little bit, but then Lamar Jackson actually he gets the balls to his weapons on the outside. So it's just that's got to be just a nightmare matchup for any defensive coordinator.
Who are you going? Did you say you were going with the Ravens?
I went with the Ravens.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the Ravens are going to pull this one out. I think they just have more firepower in it being at home. I'm going to go with them.
Same here. You think it's close? 1-score game, 2-score game?
I'm going to go with 1 score. I think it's going to be a fourth quarter. You know, it's going to come down to who's kind of dominating that fourth quarter and maybe scoring touchdowns rather than kicking field goals.
I'm going to go Ravens as well. I was trying to figure out if are the Ravens, Super Bowl contenders, are they ready to make that next step? I don't think the Lions are there yet. Obviously, but just what they lost is going to take some time to fill in those coordinators. But if they win this game, and obviously a few more, can the Ravens pull off a Super Bowl this year, or do they still have maybe too many big contenders on their side of the playoffs?
I think it's just going to come down, can they beat the Bills in the playoffs?
Is it possible?
Yeah, is that possible? And with how the Chiefs have been looking and how they've dominated the AFC for so long, that doesn't seem to be the case. Seems like the Chargers are kind of dominating.
I was going to say, can the Chargers be fun?
Yeah. Do I think the Chargers are Super Bowl contenders? Probably not. Similar to the Colts situation, I'm curious if you think they could be contenders in that AFC. They look good so far.
They will piss somebody off. They won't do it, but they'll piss somebody off in that first week.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of what the Commanders did last year against the Lions.
There's always one.
There's always one of those teams that isn't expected to do much, and they win a game. I think the Ravens have the ability. It's just, can they win in the playoffs? Can they beat the Bills?
I don't think they will. I think it'd be Bills. If it's not Bills, it probably might be Ravens though, because I think it's the Chiefs team is not looking great. I know they beat the Giants, but even in that game, it wasn't overly impressive. You were just kind of more so watching the Giants, being like, "Wow, these guys aren't very great." It wasn't the best treat for Sunday Night Football from the NFL, but nonetheless, it does feel like a down year for the Chiefs, and we are over the clock there. I'm going to give it to the Ravens as well. I'll just go 27-24. I got no idea. It might be really high scoring, like you said there, but I do think the Ravens, if they look good in this one, it'll give me more confidence that they are more than just a playoff contender, possibly a Super Bowl contender with the duo of Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. Appreciate you guys listening. Don't go anywhere, though. We got All In, a couple Husker wrestlers, talking all Nebraska sports up next from 7 to 8 o'clock. We'll talk to you then.